Good evening, everyone. My name is Soleil Ungab, and I'm from the Human Rights Organization. So I'm honored to lead this important debate on the issue of maritime disputes in the South China Sea. So the question is, should the Philippines adopt a more confrontational approach, or should we pursue diplomatic negotiations to strengthen regional alliances? So this topic has been a subject of much discussion and controversy in our society right now. And it's one that I believe um, deserves our careful consideration. The West Philippine Sea is a vital resource for the Philippines. It provides abundance of marine resources, as we know, including fish and other aquatic products that are crucial for the livelihoods of Filipino fisher folks. The dispute over the West Philippine Sea is about the sovereignty and the Philippines' ability to exercise its legitimate rights on the maritime territory. China's expansive claims and aggressive actions in the region directly challenge the Philippines' position. Discussing this issue raises awareness and stakes involved and the need for the Philippine government to defend the country's interests. So, for the format of our debate tonight, each participant will deliver a 1 minute opening statement and summarizing their position on the issue. After that, each participant will be given 2 minutes to present their arguments and followed by the 1 minute rebuttal from the opposing side after each discussion. So before we begin, um, everyone, I want to emphasize the importance of maintaining respectful and constructive dialogue throughout this debate. We may have different opinions on this issue, but I encourage all of us to listen to each other's perspectives with an open mind and to engage in a thoughtful and productive exchange. So I observed that our president, Mr. Carl Maloloyon, is not here yet. I believe he's busy, so let's just wait for him. So we will start right now. I am the first presenter, representative from the Human Protection Organization, and we believe that the Philippines should pursue diplomatic negotiations because diplomacy remains a key part of Philippine strategy alongside the defense capabilities with the allies like the United States. So, engaging in the continuous dialogue with China and other ASEAN members, it is essential to mitigate the risk of conflict and fostering regional stability. The Committee must support the Philippines' quest for justice and sovereignty through diplomatic efforts and adherence to international laws like the UN. So, strengthening cultural, economic, and social ties with Southeast Asian nations can build mutual understanding and reduce animosities. The Philippines should invoke mutual defense treaty with the U.S. to highlight the potential for the united front against aggression. We believe that while the Philippines is preparing for worst case scenarios, the key to resolving the dispute peacefully is through negotiations and direct talks. Unilateral actions by any party will only increase tensions. Demo- Diplomacy, unity, and adherence to international law are critical to managing the complex situation in the West Philippine Sea.
So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Martin Horigi. So our topic for tonight is about maritime disputes in the South China Sea. We think that maybe it's time to take action. Our country should adopt a more confrontational approach in asserting its territorial claims in the South China Sea. Today, we address a pressing issue of sovereignty and international law in the South China Sea. Our country finds itself amidst a complex web of maritime disputes, where numerous nations claims overlapping territories and resources. Firstly, it sends a clear message of resolve to protect our territory and resources from encroachment and exploitation. This approach can deter further unilateral actions by other claimant states and bolster our country's position in negotiations and international legal forums by actively defending its claims through increased maritime patrols, alliances with like-minded nations, and legal recourse. By this approach, our country can strengthen its sovereignty and uphold the rule of law in the South China Sea.
Sovereignty and national security are closely intertwined. As a nation's ability to protect its territory, citizens, and interests, it is fundamental to its sovereignty. In case of the dispute in the West Philippine Sea between the Philippines and China, domestic and political pressures have played a significant role in shaping the national security approach. So the Philippines has asserted its sovereignty over the dispute territories in the West Philippine Sea, which are also claimed by the China. This has led to tensions and a complex geopolitical situation where the Philippines must balance its national security interests with domestic political considerations. So, the domestic political pressure in the Philippines has influenced the government's approach to the dispute. There has been a push for more assertive stance against the Chinese claims, with some politicians and the public calling for a stronger military action or international legal challenges. This pressure has compelled the Philippines government to take a firmer position on the issue, even though it may risk tensions with China, a powerful neighbor. At the same time, the Philippines has also sought to maintain diplomatic ties with China, recognizing the importance of these relationships for its national security and economic growth. This delicate balancing act as a challenge, and the domestic political forces may push for a more confrontational approach that could jeopardize these crucial relationships. So the Philippine government must navigate this challenging landscape, seeking to protect its territorial integrity. National interests also should consider the political realities within the country.
So thank you, Miss Luli and Miss Marlin. So the South China Sea holds immense strategic and economic importance with valuable fisheries, shipping lanes, and potentially vast hydrocarbon reserves. Our country, as a coastal state under UNCLOS, has legitimate claims to these maritime areas, so including the Spratly Islands and Scarborough Shoal. Despite an international tribunal ruling in 2016 favoring our country's claims against China's expansive nine-dash line, enforcing and compliance have been challenging. So, a more confrontational approach involves defending our territory rather, against encroachments and illegal activities such as Chinese island building and military presence. Such as this approach could include bolstering maritime patrols, engaging in joint exercises with allies, and pursuing diplomatic pressure through international forums. It's essential to uphold it is essential to uphold the rule of law and protect Filipino fishermen rights to their traditional fishing grounds. So addressing concerns about escalation, confrontational stance doesn't really necessarily mean military conflict, but rather a firm commitment to international law and regional stability. So by standing firm, our country can assert its sovereignty and strengthen its alliances with like-minded nations and safeguard its economic interests in the face of unilateral actions that that may threaten our regional peace.
So, as a non-governmental organization or NGOs, advocating for peace, resolutions, and adherence to international law, so it is imperative that Philippines should prioritize diplomatic negotiations and utilize legal mechanisms, such as landmark ruling by the Permanent Court of Arbitration (PCA) in 2016 to assert its territorial claims in the South China Sea, so by upholding the principles of United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, and the PCA ruling, the Philippines can assert its legal rights and territorial integrity in a manner that promotes stability and peaceful coexistence in the region. So, diplomatic negotiations offer a constructive pathway to resolving disputes through dialogue, cooperation, and mutual understanding. By engaging diplomatic talks with China and other stakeholders, the Philippines can effectively communicate its concerns, interests, and objectives in a peaceful manner. In this approach, so not only demonstrate the Philippines' commitment to peace, resolution, but also it fosters trust, cooperation, respect among nations in the region.
That is a good idea, but we think strengthening maritime capabilities must be the focus now, including naval patrols and surveillance, because it constitutes a pivotal strategy for our country to safeguard its sovereignty and enforce maritime laws effectively within its exclusive economic zone or EEZ amidst escalating tensions in the South China Sea. So, as one of the government officials, by these capabilities, our country aims not only to protect its territorial integrity, but also to assert its right under international law, particularly as defined by the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS. Furthermore, fostering defense cooperation with strategic allies and regional partners assumes paramount importance in enhancing maritime domain awareness. This collaboration serves to bolster our country's defense capabilities through shared intelligence, joint exercises, and capacity building initiatives. Such partnerships contribute significantly to deterring aggressive actions and safeguarding regional stability in the face of maritime disputes. So, by investigating in maritime security and infrastructure and maintaining a robust naval presence, our country underscores its commitment to upholding sovereignty and promoting a rules-based international order in the South China Sea. These efforts not only strengthen national defense but also reinforce the country's role as a responsible stakeholder in regional security affairs. Through proactive engagement and cooperative security measures, our country seeks to mitigate risks and uphold peace and stability in its maritime domain, thereby fostering confidence among its allies and partners while safeguarding its national interests.
Diplomatic negotiations are the best course of action for the Philippines in a dispute in South China Sea for several reasons. First, diplomacy offers a platform for peaceful resolutions of disputes, significantly reducing the risk of military conflict, which could have a devastating consequences for the country. In a world where military engagements often lead to extensive human and economic loss, diplomacy stands out the most humane and cost-effective alternative. Engaging in diplomatic negotiations can also enhance the regional cooperation through multilateral frameworks like the Association of the Southeast Asian Nations, also called as ASEAN. ASEAN has long been the cornerstone of regional stability and cooperation in Southeast Asia, and leveraging this platform can promote a mutual understanding and collaboration on various issues beyond the immediate territorial disputes. By working through ASEAN, the Philippines can foster a collective approach to problem solving that includes a diverse perspective and interest, thus strengthening the regional solidarity. Moreover, building stronger regional ties can help balance the influence of external powers and create a more unified sense of shared interests. The geopolitical landscapes of the Southeast Asia is heavily influenced by major global powers, and a united regional front can serve as a counterbalance to external interventions. This unity not only strengthens the bargaining power of the region but also ensures the interests of the Southeast Asian nations are prioritized in international dealings. In essence, pursuing diplomatic negotiations aligns with the long-term strategic interests of the Philippines. It promotes peace, enhances regional cooperation, strengthening the collective security, and foster a collaborative approach to addressing a wide array of challenges. By investing in diplomacy, the Philippines can contribute to a more stable, prosperous, and unified Southeast Asia.
Thank you, Ms. Ashley, for your statement. But maritime disputes in the South China Sea have long been a contentious issue, particularly for the Philippines, which faces an assertive China. The debate over how the Philippines should address these disputes centers around two primary strategies. First, adopting a more confrontational approach or pursuing diplomatic negotiations and strengthening regional alliances. On the other hand, a more confrontational stance or approach involves asserting territorial claims through military presence, legal actions, and public denunciation of China's activities. Proponents argue this approach demonstrates the Philippines' resolve and deters further Chinese encroachments. They point to the favorable ruling by the Permanent Court of Arbitration in 2016, which invalidated China's expansive claims as a legal basis for stronger actions. Additionally, they believe that standing firm may rally international support and potentially lead to stronger defense ties with countries like the United States. And a diplomatic and alliance building strategy advocates for engaging China in dialogue, seeking mutually beneficial agreements, and reinforcing ties with the ASEAN members and the other regional partners. Advocates of this approach contend that diplomacy reduces the risk of military escalation and fosters a more stable regional environment. And so they emphasize the importance of economic relations with China and the potential benefits of cooperative resource sharing and joint development initiatives. So, moreover, strengthening alliances with the ASEAN and with external powers can create a united front that allows China to adhere to international norms without direct confrontation. Ultimately, the choice between confrontation and diplomacy is complex. It requires balancing national security interests, economic considerations, and the geopolitical landscapes. The Philippines must weigh the immediate need to protect its territorial integrity against the long-term goal of regional stability and prosperity.
Thank you everyone for sharing your arguments and stand for this issue. And right now we will proceed to the review round. And first we will hear from Ms. Trisha from the Human Rights Organization. Ms. Trisha, you may start.
In asserting the Philippines' territorial claims in South China Sea, we as the NGOs advocating for peaceful resolutions and adherence to international law. We believe that diplomatic negotiations and regional alliances offer more effective strategy. Prioritizing diplomatic talks demonstrate a commitment to upholding the rule of the law, promoting stability and fostering constructive dialogue among nations. By engaging in peaceful discussion, the Philippines can assert its right in the manner that builds trust, cooperation, and long-term stability in the region. A confrontational rather stance risks escalating conflicts and undermining regional stability. Immediate gains from forceful approach may be tempting, but the long-term consequences could harm the Philippines' diplomatic relationships and international standing. By emphasizing diplomatic relationships and international standing, so by emphasizing diplomatic negotiations and adherence to international law, the Philippines can navigate disputes with the focus of peaceful conflict resolution, mutual understanding, and sustainable solutions that benefit all parties. Additionally, forming regional alliances strengthens the Philippines' positions and enhance collective security in the South China Sea. Collaborating with neighboring countries amplifies the Philippines' diplomatic influence, promotes a united front rather against threats and territorial claims, and fosters a climate of cooperation, respect in the Asia Pacific region.
Thank you, Ms. Trisha from the Human Rights Organization. So next, we will hear a rebuttal from the government by Mr. Carr. So, Mr. Carr, you may now start.
Thank you, Miss Luli. So, being part of the government officials handling this issue isn't that easy. However, as we can see, it is time to take action, and China's behavior towards our security level, their aggressive actions and somewhat breaking what has been agreed between our country and to them shows not a good way. However, by doing the confrontational approach is not a sign to start a war against them, but only to show that China must not underestimate our country on what we can do and what to show that we can defend our country no matter what. So, as a part of the government officials, their actions are not acceptable at all. All we want, but we must not just let our countrymen and militaries be in danger because of their aggressiveness. So it is time to take action because from what we can see is that they want us to start something, but also for us, we care for our people. So this approach will just show them our sovereignty, but this approach will just show them our sovereignty, but also to show that they cannot bring us down that easy.
Thank you, Mr. Carr, for this statement. Now we will hear the closing statement from the NGO or the Human Rights Organization by Ms. Ashley. Ms. Ashley, you may start.
Okay, thank you, Miss Luli. So this is our closing statement. In conclusions, the Philippines' best and the most long-term course of action in resolving the South China Sea dispute is through diplomatic negotiations. It provides a positive means of resolving conflicts through mutual understanding and cooperation. By holding diplomatic discussions with China and other involved parties, the Philippines is able to peacefully convey its goals and concerns, which promotes national confidence and collaborations. This strategy promotes peace and collaborations in South China Sea. Diplomacy reduces the risk of military conflict, which can have devastating consequences. Engaging in diplomatic negotiations through ASEAN enhances the regional cooperations and foster mutual understanding on various issues. Prioritizing Southeast Asia's interests is ensured by a united regional front, which also increases negotiating power and counteracts outside factors. Additionally, diplomatic effort can lead to collaborations on broader issues like economic development and environmental protections. Ultimately, committing to diplomacy ensures a stable, secure, and prosperous future for the Philippines and their neighboring countries.
Thank you, Ms. Ashley. And lastly, we will hear from the government side, Ms. Hannah. Ms. Hannah, you may start.
So, as a conclusion to our argument as part of government officials, our country stands at a critical juncture regarding its territorial claims in the South China Sea. And adopting a more confrontational approach is not only justified but necessary to protect our sovereign rights and ensure a rules-based international order prevails in this crucial maritime region. The time has come for assertiveness, backed by international law and the support of our allies, to secure our rightful place in the South China Sea. The protection of our country against China and the defense of our territories in the West Philippine Sea are fundamental imperatives that require steadfast commitment and strategic foresight. It is incumbent upon us to assertively safeguard our national interests, ensuring the preservation of our maritime resources, sovereignty, and territorial integrity in the face of challenges posed by external actors. This entails deploying comprehensive diplomatic, legal, and security measures to uphold our rightful claims and reinforce regional stability, thereby, thereby fostering a secure environment conducive to mutual cooperation and respect among nations. So our union and cooperation is very important in this matter. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, so good evening again, everyone. First and foremost, I would like to thank our esteemed debaters, Miss Hannah, Miss Marlene, Miss Trisha, Miss Ashley, and Mr. Carl that's not here right now because he has a meeting to attend to. Um, Thank you for your passion, knowledge, and articulation that truly well, everyone, thank you for your time, your preparation, and your willingness to engage in this important dialogue, an important issue right now that is directly have an impact to us. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Miss Lily. Thank you,
Thank you, Miss
everyone.
Ruby. Thank you,